Saqibluhar, Syndicate 15, Finance Section. KPIs: break even in first year, create and maintain activities for 3 years, run website for 3 years. Outreach activities: run 3 open days in a year for 3 out of 5 years, run Toddy University social activity website. After year 1, introduce and run the Toddy Outreach phone app. Cost object: the term cost object is used with the context of planning, accounting and budgeting. It refers to any items linked with the cost figure of its own section. This term can be used very widely in terms of ranging items which costs are made by estimating, by measuring directly, distribution or cost allocation. Here is an example of what a cost object would look like. Examples of a cost object for a BMW. Manufacture a car would be a product, sell cars would be a service, invent more hybrid engines would be a project, manage a production section would be a department, supplying cars from manufacturer to showrooms would be activities, fixed number of cars manufactured required per day will be a contract, fuel required to deliver the cars will be resources. Direct cost. For example, to make coffee you would need certain amount of coffee itself, filters, milk and sugar required to make it. You would also need people to make the coffee for customers. These will be direct costs. This can also be known as a variable cost. Direct costs are costs of the items that can be linked to a product or cost unit directly. Direct cost has 2 categories: direct material and direct labor. These materials raw and directly are source linked back to the manufacturer of the product. To make calculations on direct cost materials, add all the individual items required to make a coffee. This will increase the understanding of how much ingredients is required to complete a single coffee. Indirect costs. An indirect costs are not directly linked to a cost object. They do not fall in line with the production side of things, but will be accountable for maintenance costs and factory management wages. 2 examples of indirect costs are overheads and fixed costs, which are based on caretakers' wages, coffee machines and electricity. Cost behavior. Variable cost is very much in line with the production level. In terms of per unit basis, the variable cost is in line with the relevant range, which remains consistent across all production levels. As these graphs show, materials is an example of variable cost. If one pair of trousers costs £10 and the fabric required is £10, regardless of how many pairs are made, the price will always stay £10 per unit of production. If 3 pairs are made, the total cost will be times 3, £30, and if 3,000 pairs are made, the total equipment cost will be £30,000. So subsequently, the increase of total cost and production levels would be in line. Fixed cost. Fixed cost remains the same and don't differ with production level, although as a production line increases, fixed cost per unit decreases, as a fixed cost remains the same regardless of the increase of units. The 2 charts below show the relationship between output volume and fixed costs. Example, £30,000 is a fixed cost, remains 30,000 at production level, has a ratio of 100 units to 1,000. The second chart demonstrates the decrease of fixed costs per unit as the mass production increases. Therefore, when 100 units are made, the fixed cost of each unit is £300, 30,000 divided by 100. If 300 units are made, the fixed cost for each unit is £100, 30,000 divided by 300. Mixed cost. If within a relevant range of activity, validating the relationships of production and sales, a cost is neither classed as variable nor fixed. It is referred to as a semi-variable or mixed cost. In this instance, the total cost production line increases. It does not exceed the source as there is a component of fixed cost. A prime example of this would be electricity. For example, there is a fixed amount in terms of how much ventilation, computers, lights, etc. There is a variable cost component required in running the equipment on the production floor. £10 per unit of output is a variable cost component. Therefore, at a production rate of 300 units, the total electricity cost is £6,000. £3,000 plus £10 times 300. Step function. The mixed cost charts is renowned as a step function. A great example of this cost behavior would be the total for a salary expense for a shift controller. For a single shift, only one controller is required. In order for the factory to maximize its full use of a single shift and produce huge orders, the factory must add another shift requiring another shift controller, which means the expenses of the shift controller doubles. Same methods require if they will need 3 shift controllers. Budgeting. A budget is a rough valuation on how an organization will perform financially. Other than an organization, a particular project, department, business sector, it measures the money, resources, revenues, assets, costs, and equipment planning these events in a considerable time. Also assesses in which direction the company is going, measuring year by year. Types of budgets. Line item budgeting, a term used to describe a budget listing all the items for the department which are correlated with the past and present performance according to financial statements. Program budgeting is a very similar system to other methods of budget where each and every activity is described and the cost accounted to the budget. Zero-based budgeting, each cost accountant plans their expenses for a set amount of time almost as if starting from scratch. Alternatively, all programs or activity begins with a zero budget base. Therefore, by beginning the budget cycle from start at each point, higher ranked managers and supervisors are required to closely analyze and vindicate the expenses to reduce waste. Expensive budget is commonly known Expensive budget is commonly used as an estimate method by organizations for travel, telephone, office equipment, and other expenditures for a specific period. It is also the method I will be using to budget my costs, as this will tell me how and where my money will go towards in the present moment and future. This will help Toddy University spend their money wisely and links back to our KPIs to manage the activities over the space of 5 years. The following slide will demonstrate my research for items and services required for the outreach activities. A website to make an app. A job ad to show the prospect of hiring a web developer. Printing cost. Pens cost. Rent for a coffee machine. Tesco cheese and bacon sandwiches. Personalized Toddy University keyrings. And these are my references. Our budget sheet shows our activities, costs, equipment required with our direct costs. Our open day activity will be attended by 200 people, but all equipment will be for 250 people just in case we get more people coming. The venue for this activity will be free as it will be held at Toddy University. The pens will be at £11 times 3 will give us £33 for the year. Coffee at £8 a week higher rate times 3 will give us £24. £420 a year for cheese sandwiches, £570 a year for bacon sandwiches, each 125 pieces will give us £990 per year. Printing cost at £20 a year times 3 will give us £60 a year. £225 for 250 keyrings times 3 will give us £675 per year. Total for the year will be £1,782. For the second year cost will be £1,817 due to the yearly inflation rise, and £1,854 for the third year as a 2% inflation will increase for that year. For year 4 and 5 we will not run event as agreed by the syndicate members. For the website we will hire a web developer for 3 years as he will maintain the website and keep it updated, helping with any technical issues. The salary will increase by £2,000 as part of the bonus. Considering they remain for 3 years, for year 4 and 5, we won't have a website. We will switch to the phone app. These are all the functions of the app which were decided by me and another group syndicate. Integration with the website, social media login, and device syncing being the main functions, bringing a total cost of £21,775. It will only be made in second year and will remain for the further 3 years, and is a one-off cost. We won't have to pay for it and will replace the website. In terms of our social media page, it won't cost anything as it will be integrated on sites such as Facebook and Twitter to increase popularity. Our total cost of events for year 1 is £33,000 782. For year 2 will be 57,592, and for year 3 will be 37,854. No cost for year 4 and 5. There will be no website or open days. Syndicate charge for year 1 is £9,000. For second year is 9,180 with a 2% inflation rise. For third year will be 9,360. The total expenditure cost for year 1 is 42,782, 66,770 for second year, and for the third year will be 47,214.